Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Do It For Yourself. So what we have here are two headlights coming off of a 2007 Ram truck. Now on the left is the headlight I have not started on yet. On my right is the one that I've completed. For less than $50, I'm going to show you how to take your OEM light and turn it from this to this. So hang in there and we'll be right back. Okay guys, so these are the items you will need in order to restore your headlights. I already had some of this sandpaper on hand, so I didn't have to go out and buy this stuff. However, I will put a link in the description that you'll be able to go to in the event that you want to go ahead and do this yourself. So the first grit of sandpaper I'm going to start with is 500, okay? I'm gonna go from 5 to 1,000, 1,000 to 1,500, 1,500 to 2,000, from 2,000 to 3,000. Now, you don't have to have the exact numbers here. However, when starting off, I wouldn't go less than 400, okay? I have a 500 grit sandpaper, and depending on the age of your headlight, how long it's been around, will be dependent on whether or not you use a 500 or 400. You can't go wrong with using either one, in my opinion. But that's up to you. Now, I do have a 5,000 sheet here that I just had on hand. I'm just going to use it at the tail end of all these other papers, just because I have it, and it's going to make it a little smoother, I feel. All right, the next thing you're going to need is a polisher. Now, I like to use this Headlight Restorer by Chemical Guys. What I like about it, it's a plastic rejuvenator, and it has UV blockers in it, including some other things that will protect your plastic after you've done all this work. Okay, guys, don't cheap out on this. If you don't get this, get something else that has UV blockers and will protect your headlight after you do the work, because I'm telling you, you won't regret it. Finally, here is a headlight coating, and it maintains clarity on restored headlights, provides durable UV protection. As I said, restored headlights, and that's what we're doing today. You will also need at least 2 to 3, maybe 4 microfiber towels. These are the things you will need. Now, finally, you will also need a small bucket of soapy water. Just put some warm water in there with a tad bit of dish soap or something, and you'll be good to go with that as well. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set the headlight on this table here, and I'm going to show you how to restore your headlight from beginning to end. Okay guys, so I brought the headlight to my sink, and the first absolute thing you want to do is cover any holes that you have with some either masking tape or duct tape, whatever will stick to the plastic. Okay, now I have seen guys on other YouTube videos try and leave the lights in. I don't recommend that, because the light is still a circuitry and you can still ruin it and still get water inside, in my opinion. So just go ahead and put some tape over it to ensure that nothing gets into these little holes where your light goes. All right, now we're going to turn this around. Okay, and we're just going to wet it a little bit. Okay, then we're going to use this little scrub pad. If you don't have a blue one, you can use a green one, that's fine. We're just trying to take off any surface dirt that's been on there for quite some time. No sense in digging any dirt into it as we sand it. We're gonna wet the pad a little bit, and then we're just kind of gonna go over it lightly, just like this. Okay, make sure you get it all the way around. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and rinse it off. Just like that. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you do this outside or inside. As long as you do it, that's all that matters. Okay, so now we have it all cleaned up. We're going to take it back to the table, and we're going to start the sanding process. Okay, so here I have my 500 grit. We're going to go ahead and dip it in the soapy water just like this. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to go over the headlight horizontally. I'm going to keep dipping the sandpaper into the water. So I had it really bad on this side. It was very rough. It was very rough all in this area. You want to try and get that as smooth as possible. You can see how it's taken off. See all that residue? That's from that top stuff that was on, you know, the plastic, the bad plastic that's on there, okay? Micro scratches, all that good stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and, it's just residue that's coming off from the plastic there. Okay. Now, you want to go the other way and give it a good sand. Don't hold back at giving it some pressure because you want that 500 grit or 400 grit to work well. And this is all in real time. I can feel how rough it is on this side. I want to try and get this as smooth as possible. And it won't get really smooth until you start going up in your sandpaper. This is what we want to do. Okay. I'm going to go over it a little more for good measure on this side. Now, I suppose you could do it in circular motions. I don't know that I'd recommend that. I mean, I don't know that there's really a direction in grain on this plastic that you should go. I just think that going horizontally and then vertically is probably going to yield you a better result, that's all. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but... Okay, and just keep going over it until you feel good about it. You know? Okay, I think that's pretty good. Okay, we went over it with the 500. Now, we're going to go ahead and wipe it down with a microfiber towel. Okay, so it is smoother, it's more foggier looking, but that's okay. That's to be expected. We know that we're doing it correctly. All right, so now we're going to go to the next size up of sandpaper, which is 1000. All right, so make sure we get a good wet on here. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and sand it down. We're going to go horizontally. Do a little extra work on the side that still seems to be the worst. This side's the roughest side. Okay, so now we're going to go over it. And remember, you want to keep wetting that sandpaper, okay? That's real important. You don't want to feel it rubbing on dry at all. Just like that. Okay, now, just one second, guys. Okay, so now we went over it with the 1000. I still have the 1000 in my hand here. Okay, all right. I can feel it so much smoother. You want to make sure you get all the way to the edge. Okay. Wow, that's amazing, guys. It's all right, so let's wipe it down real quick. It's a little more foggier, actually. I don't know if you can tell, you can see that. See the little line here? That's impregnated into the plastic. But again, when we're all done, it's gonna look so much better. Okay, we've done our 500. We've done our 1000. Okay. Now, we're gonna do our, I think it's our 1500, yeah. And remember, this was sandpaper I already had on hand, okay? So if you don't have 1500, you can go from 1000 to 2000, that's okay. As long as there's something in between there somewhere. All right, so we're gonna give it a little water. You notice how I have the towel on the table? You can set it up just like this if you like. All right, so now we're gonna go horizontally. I can feel this headlight already, like, it just feels really good. It feels like all the gritty plastic that was on the surface of this headlight is practically gone. Make sure you get it in there good. Now, if your headlights are not almost 20 years old, like these headlights are, then your headlight may come out even better because it doesn't have the kind of damage that mine has. And remember, OEM lights are always much better to use on your vehicles than, in my opinion, aftermarket headlights. I think the seals are better. This has obviously lasted almost 20 years, so that should tell you something. If you can bring back your old OEM lights to good condition, I say why pay for some? Okay. All right. Now we're going to go back the other way like this. got to give it some elbow grease if you want this to work the first time around, because after it's all done, you don't want to seal it and go through the whole process knowing that you could have done a little bit better. So make sure you take your time. All right, so now that we went through the 1500, we're going to hit it with 2000 grit. All right, so okay, we're going to wet it down a little bit. It's taking off some of that residue as well when you wet it down, so that's fine. Okay, so now we're going to go from side to side. And then okay. You can actually see the cloudiness getting less cloudy as you go up in sandpaper. I'd like to say that this headlight actually seems to be coming out better than the first headlight I did. So now we're going to go vertically. Still feels a little rough here, but it's 100% better. 100. And again, you don't want to go less than 400 in my opinion. Between 400 and 500 I think you should use to start out with on your headlight. I'll wet it a little more. I'm feeling like I'm working a little harder on this side to get it more smoother. Okay. Whew. We're gonna go back over it with the microfiber towel. Give it a gander. Okay, so let me get out of the way. Okay, so you can see how it's still foggy, right? It's gotten a little more foggy, but I actually think it's gotten lighter. But we won't really know what the end result will be until we go back over it with a 3000 and then put a polish on it. So let's go ahead and keep rolling. Okay. Okay, here is the 3000, I believe. Yep. 1500, 2000. There it is. Okay, so now we're going to go over it with a 3000. Get it wet. All right. So here we go. Horizontally first. Now I can tell I'm not seeing nearly as much residue come from this sanding as I did the first time around when I started with a 500. Much less residue. And guys, again, the goal is to get it as smooth as you can. Try and get off as much of that surface contamination as you can off. That's really what you're trying to achieve here. And keep wetting that sandpaper. Okay, come on. Okay, so now we're going to go vertically. Just like this. I remember I used to hear, yeah, just sandpaper your headlights and you'll get it looking new again. And I used to always think, how in the world can sanding a headlight get it looking new or better than it is? You know? But now that I understand the process better, I see why people do it. Okay, so now, because I already I have it on hand, I'm just going to go ahead and use my 5,000. You don't need to go that high, guys. I'm just going to go ahead and use it because I have it. I think when you go a little finer sandpaper, you yield a little bit better end result. But that's okay. 4,000 is good, or 3,000 to 4,000 is good. That's what you have on hand. The dish soap in there to give it a little bit of lubricant. So that's why we're using it. Okay. Very smooth up here, actually. Very smooth on this side. Then very smooth here. It gets a little rougher as you get toward the end because that was the worst side. Okay, we're done. We've went through all of our different size sandpapers. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and wipe it down now. All right, and that's the end result of what it looks like after sanding it down. So what we're gonna do next is I'm actually going to bring this back to the sink. I'm gonna rinse it off with water, go over it again with a microfiber towel, and then we're gonna put our first polish on it. All right. Okay, so for the sake of demonstration, I put a small piece of tape here so that I can show you how you don't need an orbital sander or any kind of sander to do this job just with your hands. So what I'm going to do is use this headlight restore first. And all we're really going to do is shake it up really well. And again, the tape is there so you can see the before and after. And I'm just going to put a little bit of a dab here in certain spots. Okay. Now, okay. When you use this, read the instructions carefully so that you're doing it correctly. When doing all of this from beginning to end, you want to make sure your headlight is cool. I know it seems really sunny out here in Arizona like it always is, but right now it's morning, so it's not real hot. Okay, so now we're going to go over it with a microfiber towel and see what it looks like. We're going to spread it around all the way to the edges. Just like that. It's like putting wax on a car. I might have put too much here, but that's okay. The goal is to make sure we get good coverage. Okay. Now, the instructions say put it on, then give it a good rub to take it off with a microfiber towel. However, I feel that if you leave it on for about 60 seconds, to kind of let that okay, so now we are going to go ahead and rub this polish off, and we're going to give it some good pressure when we do it because we want that polish to penetrate that plastic and give it the best shine we can possibly get. All right, here we go. Wow. I don't know if you guys can tell the difference, but I certainly can already. Okay. So we've kind of rubbed that in a little bit. Now, we're going to go ahead, switch over to another side of the microfiber towel, a clean side, and go over the rest of it. Can you guys see this? I want you to see this. In fact, I think this time with this headlight, it turned out better than my first headlight. Don't ask me why. I just think it did. And then a final polish with another clean side of the microfiber towel. I think definitely letting it sit for a minute and a half benefited. All right, let's go over again here. This is why I say keep plenty of microfiber towels on hand, because you will use them. All right, guys. Before and after, okay? You can actually see that line between what was sanded and what was polished. Now, we could probably stop here because this polish has everything you need to protect this headlight. But we're going to go even one step further. We're going to put that UV clear protectant on that I showed you earlier by Meguiar's. So hang on and we'll be right back. Okay guys, so I finished off the rest of the headlight by hand, and now the next step is to use this Meguiar's headlight coating spray so that we could even get that much better UV protection and protect the plastic from dulling out over time. Now, I have seen guys on YouTube, after applying a polish, come back with some sort of alcohol prep to clean it prior to putting on a coating. I don't think you should do that. I think that, like the polish I showed you earlier, rub that polish into the plastic as well as you can, and then after you're done and it looks evenly coated, then just go ahead and apply this. In my opinion, the alcohol pads or going over it with a microfiber towel and alcohol actually takes off the polish that you just applied. As long as you rub that polish into the plastic well enough, you're going to be okay. Okay, so as you can see, it's a lot better than it was. Now we're going to go ahead and give it a coating with this spray here. You want to make sure you shake it up really well. And because the wind is blowing this way, well, let's see here. I think it'll be okay. I just don't want it hitting my truck. Okay, so make sure you shake it up really well. Okay, at least for a minute and a half. Although I shook it up prior, I won't need to shake it up for a minute. I know it seems kind of weird me shaking this out on the camera, but all right, so almost done here. Just a minute, guys. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and apply it. We're gonna stay about, I don't know, maybe about 3 inches above, because you want that, you don't want a lot of overspray. You want to make sure you get it well, and you want to be in a ventilated area, like outside would be great. Okay, so we're just going to go a light coat first. And it looks like it's going toward my truck. All right, hang on, guys. Okay, so I had to move my table someplace else so that the overspray wouldn't get on my vehicle. But nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and spray it with a light coat first of this headlight coating. So here we go. Start from the outside, work your way in. I don't think I got that very well up here. Okay, we're going to let that sit for 3.5 minutes. We're going to come back and then we're going to do another coating. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do a second coating. There is a little bit of a breeze right now, so that spray may end up going that way a little more. If that's the case, just bring it a little closer to the headlight. I wanted to keep it outside so that you can get a clear view of the headlight and the process. But anyway, let's go ahead and do the second coating. Okay, that is now 2 coats after 3.5 minutes. And I can tell after the second coat, it looks even better. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay guys, so my final thoughts on this whole process. You saw me do it in real time, and really it doesn't take that long. And I did it all by hand. You don't need an orbital sander. You don't need a circular sander or whatever is out there. You can do this all by hand in a relatively short amount of time. Now, I was initially going to go out and buy OEM lights, and I thought to myself, man, OEM lights for my truck are about $400 or $500. And I thought, well, if I can just bring these back to some life to where I could, make them look a little better and get better light going through, then I think I'll try that instead. And for less than $50, I was able to do that. So at this point, I would ask for you to subscribe, to comment, and please hit the like button, guys. It only takes less than 2 seconds, and it helps the algorithm of this video to move forward. If you found any value in this, go ahead and let me know, and I will put a link in the description for these 2 products and some sandpaper that you will need to get this project started on your own. Thank you for watching. Do it for yourself, and we'll see you in the next video.